Now, who knows the difference between history and geography? And I usually get a few answers that get pretty darn close, but then we state that geography is what's happening actually on the earth as far as the weather and the land and all that good stuff. And history is anything in the past. And they are actually living history, because what happened this morning is already history. So it doesn't have to be back with the dinosaurs. It could be just happening yesterday, and it's history. So now that I know what the answer for geography is, I'm going to ask if anybody knows the compass. Do you remember what the compass is, right? What like?
Yeah.
What does it read?
Northeast, southwest.
North and south? West and
East.
right. And so this is my compass right here. But you're in 4th grade already, and if you're in 4th grade, this is a compass with rows. What do we have when I do that?
Northeast.
Stand up. I didn't mean to do that.
Northeast.
Northeast,
East, south.
southeast,
Southwest.
southwest,
And northwest.
northwest. Very good. It's still called a compass rose, but these are intermediate signs. They are not the prime signs. Intermediate, we put the two together, and that's our compass. Does anybody know? Well, everybody stand up. So when everybody stands up, I will ask you, don't look at the teacher and don't look at me, because we're not going to tell you. Where is north? Everybody put their face toward north. Facing north. Oh, 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 Santa Claus is at the North Pole. Here's the north. And if this is the north, where's the south? Yes, very good. Okay, if that's the south, do you know where east is? That's west. East. Turn and face east. This is where the sun comes up in the morning. So, good morning, sunshine. Now the sun is going to set. The sun sets in the... Turn and face the west. Good job. Okay, everybody face the north. And in the north, we have puffins. Oh, yep, puffins. Hi. In the south, face the south, we have penguins. In the east, the sun comes up. And in the west, the sun goes down. And we do that about 10 times so that they start moving around in all different orders. So then we have an idea about the compass. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. And I'm going to tell you why I think the compass is important. We have this map in 1904. I think that's really truly was made. Because one of the most important parts of a map is going to be the compass. Now, I don't like this map for 2 reasons. One reason is this map does not have a compass. And if I'm flying my airplane, I'm not going to know where I'm going. Or if I'm driving my boat in the ocean, there's no roads and streets, I need to have that compass. I need to know where my north and south is so I can get in the right place. So that's why you were practicing that compass that we need in geography so that we can read the map and know where we are. Can you come up? Thank you, John. Can you find the state of Wisconsin for me? And if you don't have a pointer stick in your classroom or something, you can even use a yardstick or something. They love to take turns coming up in front and actually pointing and picking on something. Excellent job. Now remember I said there were 2 reasons I didn't like this map. Can you show me where Madison is? That's our capital. And usually I ask if they know the capital.
Oh, wait. I can't see it on here.
Can you find it on that map?
Oh, right here.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. If you look at where he was pointing, I'm sorry, John. You can sit down. If you look where he was pointing, it's way down here, almost by Illinois border. Madison is not really that low. Our Madison is up higher. So whoever made this map made Madison a little bit out of place. And where we live in Wausau is way here. So Madison's not really down here. So no compass, and then put Madison in the wrong place. And then while I'm doing this, I'm not sure what you've taught in your classroom, but we go over, make sure they know all of the major waters. So we go over the oceans, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. We do talk about the Gulf of Mexico. And then we have to name the other two oceans that we don't see on here. Then we also, when I'm going through, we talk about the Mississippi River, and give somebody when I have them taking the stick and they each come up and take a different turn, I do a boy who has to pick the next girl has to pick the next boy, so that they don't just pick their friends. If they have to pick somebody from the opposite sex in 4th grade, they get all embarrassed and they don't know who to pick, so it works better. So when I am doing the Mississippi River, I first show them, because nobody really knows, and we talk about how it comes over through Louisiana. It follows the states till it gets down here. It does not follow Mississippi and go down. And that's going to be part of my story later with Theodore Roosevelt. Then after we've done that, because I just talked for a while about geography, and even though we got to come up and do it with a stick, it's boring, so we practice something that makes them just do something a little different and break before we start history. And that is, we practice spelling Mississippi the correct way, which is Mississippi. And then I tell them my mom taught me how to spell it backwards, because when I sat in the car next to my little brothers and sisters, and yes, we did have a car in 1904, and not many people do, but we did. When we sit next to our family, we have a tendency to accidentally punch them and kick them and threaten them and try to hurt them. And of course, mom and dad will yell a little bit, and so you stop for a minute, and then you do it again. So my mom taught me that I could make my brothers laugh, and I wouldn't get into trouble. And how did I make my brothers laugh? I would spell Mississippi backwards. So the way it goes backwards is IPPISSISSIM. And then I practice with them, and we go faster and faster, and then they're all getting excited, and they're all going, IPPISSISSIM, IPPISSISSIM, and we go that. Then I make them spell it the right way so that we don't forget. So then we spell MISSISSIPPI. And it's sort of wrapping up my geography lesson with the map and with all of that. So then I go ahead and go right straight into history, say, okay, now that I know a little bit about the world, we're going to talk about who is the president in 1904. And every now and then I have a teacher that has them all prepped ahead of time, so they all can yell it out at me, and then I have to yell at them and tell them, you know, in your 1904 voice, that, no, you were supposed to stand up and raise your hand, and you can't yell at me. And they're all excited and all wound up. But sometimes they don't know. And when they don't know, they'll guess Lincoln, Washington, Jefferson. Very often they'll guess Bush, Kennedy, whatever names that are more prevalent in their home, they're going to yell those out. And somebody might also say Trump. And then you say, well, you're close, but, you know, this president wasn't alive yet. So I have a couple books that I use to help me in my history lesson. You do not need to use any books. As school teachers, you can use their social studies book, whatever. This one is one of my favorites, and I'm going to show you that one last. Then we have some things like you can get resources out of the library or whatever. That's a big whole-time magazine just about Teddy Roosevelt. And if you do any of the American Girl stuff, Samantha's World is in 1904. And so some of that will be relevant also to what you're teaching in history. The legend of the teddy bear, they talk about the people that made the teddy bear and how he actually got the name Teddy when he was out hunting and he wouldn't shoot the baby bear they tied up. And it just talks about one of the new soft toys for children. And the particular reason I have this one, although the original teddy bear is a golden brown, and we talk about that, the first teddy bears had button eyes from boot buttons. It has a stitched on nose and mouth. They didn't really, other than they put the glasses on just because they were sending it to Roosevelt as a gift, but most other teddy bears didn't have glasses. wheels in all the original teddy bears. So all the teddy bear arms and legs would move. And so that's why I use this one as our display. This one's getting a little warm because it always gets passed around because they all want to turn. And even the head, and then they get grossed out because the head is turning around. But this will help them remember Theodore Roosevelt. So when we're talking 1904, we can associate, and we talk about the fact that there's a Franklin Roosevelt, and that's a totally different president. So remember, 1904 was our Theodore Roosevelt. We also talk about, there is and I try to whisper real lowly, real low, that our parents and a lot of people would think we were crazy. There's two people thinking that they can fly. There's a Orville and Wilbur. Now, don't tell your parents about this because they're going to say that we're all crazy. And they have been putting on some kind of wings and some contraption, and they're in North Carolina, and they're running off the sand dunes. In 1904, they actually are able to stay in the air for 20 seconds. In the beginning of 1905, they actually can start turning their plane. And just think, in 1914, they are using planes in the First World War. So in 10 years, they got it from just being able to stay in the air for 20 seconds to actually being able to fly across a lot of land. They haven't gone across the ocean yet, but they have gone across a lot of land. So the planes are becoming pretty popular, where in 1904 people thought that was really crazy. There's a World's Fair in 1904. Now some people told me that they had invented ice cream in 1904, and that's not true. Thomas Jefferson actually brought it back from France, way back earlier. So in 1904 at the World's Fair, they had, and I named the cereals that I have it all listed at home, and I haven't done this for a while, so I forgot, but the couple of cereals, because before that it was just eggs and porridge. They have Dr. Pepper, so they are starting some sodas. They have, I can't remember all the foods that I have listed there, but if you look it up, you'll find them. But what the big deal is that they start waffles. They have a special machine that will take the pancakes, because they already have pancakes in 1904, and they can make waffles. Well, the waffle place where they were selling them is close to where the ice cream place was, which was just a treat. And so you can guess the story that you're going to tell them, is that they ran out of dishes for their ice cream. Somebody figured out if they rolled up their waffle and they could have their ice cream with their waffle, and it started the cone. And that's what was developed in 1904. So we talked about the World's Fair a little bit and what that meant, and that was a big deal. We talk about cars. Wausau, when I checked over at the Historical Society, they told me they didn't think Wausau had its first car until 1908 or 1909. But 1904, there were cars. They just weren't in our small town. Why not? Because they did not have gas stations everywhere. They did not have nice smooth roads like we have. They had the dirt trails from the horses and the wagons and things. So we weren't prepared to be having cars yet. When you did get a car, you had to know how to fix it because there weren't places to fix your car. So cars weren't the same as they are today, and we go into a discussion about that. The phone. If you can get a hold of a phone, this is always amazing to them, that this is the phone. The school would not have one. Most of your houses would not have one unless you were very rich. Only a business. And if you wanted to use the phone, you might go to the police department, or you might be going into the general store, or someplace very special that has the phone. Phones used to cost money for every single call that you made. This phone is attached to the wall, and inside this big box is an engine. And we talk about, I can't go any farther. I can't walk around the house. I'm stuck right here. So I can't see anybody. I can't do anything compared to the cell phones that we can walk around with anywhere. That this is the mouthpiece that you have to lean over and talk to, so you're listening and talking, so your head is right next to the phone. We make a sample phone call, and I pretend that I'm on the phone to just show how short and sweet. I don't talk about the weather. I don't talk about how grandma's illness is. If I'm gonna pay for this by the minute, I'm gonna say exactly what I wanna say and hang up. So our phone calls aren't like today's phone calls. This is not a social thing. This is just like if you have an emergency. Let's say somebody got hurt here at school. I'm gonna try to get somebody to get the doctor over here quickly. I'll just call the operator. We talk about telephone lines running outside, and we even talk about switchboards and having an operator who's nosy and listens to all the phone calls. So we go through all of that. And that's pretty much the 1904 lessons.